Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to Team Kindness. I'm your host, Karen Palmer, and this show is dedicated to bringing you the kindness leaders nationwide to speak about powerful and positive solutions to bringing more compassion and more kindness to all corners of the world. So every week we get to have incredible guests here. And I'm just going to ask you to please share this out. Let me know if you're hearing an echo. I would love for you to type into the chat where you're watching from. Hey, Jay, welcome. Please type into the chat where you're watching from, and please share this out. Share this to all of your yes, we are looking good, Marilyn. So I have this my beautiful friend, Marilyn Turkovich from the Charter for Compassion. And I wanted to share this out. So if you guys could share this out, I'm going to just do a quick couple shares here to let people know that we are live. And if you could do that for me, that would be a really big help, and let people know that we are live. And I'm going to share a little bit about Marilyn, and then we're going to have a nice interview here where you're going to be able to ask questions and learn more about how to get involved with the Charter for Compassion. So first I want to share just a little bit about my guest here, and that will be Marilyn Turkovich. And let me just grab her bio real quick so I can share this out with all of you. She's such an amazing soul and such a beautiful, beautiful. Hi, Julie. Hi, Dana. Thank you for typing in. Please type into the chat where you're watching from, and please share this out on all of your pages and your timeline. Thank you, Maria. Thank you for being here. Thank you, Kansas City, our beautiful global family we have here. So Marilyn Turkovich has been an instructional designer for more than 20 years and a facilitator for 25 years and a consultant specializing in instructional design, strategic planning, race, and social justice initiatives. My leadership development and coaching for the last 10 years. And in addition to this work, she's been involved in education as a teacher, curriculum coordinator, principal, and director of teacher training programs for the Associated Colleges and Columbia College in Chicago. She is currently the education director and partner coordinator for the Charter for Compassion International. Welcome, Marilyn. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, thank you. And you have an advantage over me because we talked about this before we started up. I just have a white screen in front of me with a parallelogram shape of I think 3 hairs on the head of Karen Palmer.
So, we're dealing with a lot of compassion for our technology today. If you're hearing an echo, will you please let me know if you're hearing an echo so I can try to adjust the audio? Type into the chat if you can hear us and see us. we are in kind of a compassionate space here, hoping that you can hear us and see us. So please type into the chat, yes, we can hear you and see you just fine. Oh, awesome. Yes, they can hear us and see us, Marilyn.
So that's Marilyn, good to know.
Yeah, we'll be able to hear and see ourselves on the replay. But so, Marilyn, I would love to hear a little bit more about the Charter for Compassion and your role as helping to bring in partners and to coordinate the partnerships. Tell us a little bit about the partnerships and how people can become a partner and get involved.
Well, maybe we should just start and give a tiny bit of background. The Charter for Compassion was signed in 2009, or launched, I should say, at the United Nations. It was the dream child of Karen Armstrong, who is from the United Kingdom, from London. And she was the very first person to win the TED Award. And her wish was to have a charter for compassion, and she really strongly felt that the only thing that we had left as the human race was to be compassionate towards one another, because we were in such a vulnerable position. And the Charter for Compassion actually is a charter, and it's really the Golden Rule. It has a few more words to it than the Golden Rule. And so right now, we probably have, my guess is somewhere between 250 million people who have signed it, upwards to 3. And the whole idea is not just to affirm the Charter for Compassion, but to really commit to compassionate action. And we became our own 501c3 a number of years ago, 2014. And our concentration is individuals sign the charter, organizations become partners to the Charter for Compassion. And our thrust is really to create this incredible network of both people and organizations and compassionate cities. And I can talk about that a little later if you like. But right now we probably have signatures from about 165 countries in the world. We have 411 city initiatives, and we have well over 2,100 partners in different sectors. And again, this is all networking. So let's say that you're a compassionate city and you have a problem that might be in regards to homelessness or hunger. We have organizations that can really help, and we can make those connections in the compassionate city. And so we've been really so involved, and I think in starting some really exciting programs that all of our compassionate cities can be a part of. One was the Golden Rule Day, April 5th, which is an official Golden Rule date. And we did a 24-hour webcast around the world. And we reached right now, because the streaming is still available, all of those videos, we're close to 600,000 people who have really had an opportunity to go from Japan around the world back to Hawaii, where we ended, in talking with people who are doing extraordinary things. And, it's ordinary people doing extraordinary things in their community. Everything from education to working against sexual trafficking to healthcare innovations. So the whole concept of the partners is that we have sectors in art, business, education, environment, peace, interfaith, restorative justice, social services, science and research, and women and girls. So there's 12 sectors. I hope I didn't miss any of them. And we have hundreds of partners in most of them who are really committed to sharing locally, but also nationally and internationally.
Beautiful. Yes, I'm a partner, and I highly recommend everyone go. I put the link in there. It's charterforcompassion.org, and I encourage you to go over and check out the sectors, check out all the different ways that you can partner with the Charter. There's also an amazing organization that has grown from the Charter for Compassion that is another organization that is the same but has expanded. It's called the Compassion Games. And last week we had John Raymer on there, and we spoke about the power of playing with compassion. And can you speak a little bit about that for you, Marilyn? How has the Compassion Games been a way to expand this message and to impact more lives?
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole idea, as you talked about there, is that the Compassion Games are really acts of kindness that individuals and teams of people do together, not in competition, but in cooperation, or as the Compassion Games like to say, in co-opetition. And so they play the games at different times of the year. There is one that happens in February, every February, with Interfaith Harmony, which is again a United Nations week that started a number of years ago, where people of different faith traditions come together and do good works for their communities. Another time will be in September, which is really 11 days of playing that starts on September 11th and ends on September 21st. That's the International Day of Peace. So, for example, a city might say, you know, what we want to do is we want to pledge 100,000 acts of kindness so that, you know, maybe the city can come together, put up a small website that indicates the services that are desired in the community, anything from cleaning up a park to painting a school, or stocking up the pantries of food kitchens. So it's really quite exciting. So most of our compassionate cities are very involved in the Compassion Games, but sometimes the word gets out that the games are happening in cities that know nothing about the Charter for Compassion, or really the program that we have for compassionate cities, which is really it's a life-changing endeavor. And maybe I should say that, you know, the Compassion Games help us in identifying new groups of teams that might be interested in making their city a compassionate city. So what that means is that it's a grassroots group of committed people who begin a dialogue with one another, and to then say, you know, what is it that makes it a little difficult to live in this community?
Right.
What are some of the kinds of things that we want to change? And who among us, you know, knows of other people, other organizations that can be involved in this effort? And so people work for sometimes 2-3 years before they actually get a action plan together, and it should be a sustainable action plan. And they do that not only with their grassroots organization, but they do it in cooperation with their local government, so that eventually the hope is that city council, if it's a city council, would affirm the Charter for Compassion and endorse this action plan, because really the structure of the plan has to be in the hands of the folks who began the whole effort. Because as we well know, our mayors lose elections or they retire, and so do the folks on city council. And so if this whole compassion action plan is going to stay in place and is going to be sustainable, it really needs a strong community effort behind it. So that's how the Compassion Games interacts with the Charter for Compassion. And we're quite close in a lot of the kinds of projects that we do.
And yeah, so aligned, so beautifully aligned. Also, some of the people in the audience are asking, how can their city become a compassionate city?
Okay, go to the website. And
I posted the website in there, so you guys can go right to the website.
When you get to the website, in the navigation list at the top, it'll say communities. And you can pull down that menu and just have a look at the overview of some suggested steps of becoming a compassionate city. Really contact me, and one of the first things that we start to do is to chat. And I do that on a regular basis right now. There's
so they can email you, Marilyn? Should they email you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll put that in there so they can email you at Marilyn@compassion, charterforcompassion.org.
That's right.
Okay, I'll put that in there.
Just to give you an example, I'm now in conversation with a small group in New Zealand who really wants to have New Zealand become a compassionate country. And
Yay!
and we have that effort right now going on in Australia as well. I was just
Yes.
there in February and talked with folks at Parliament. And the Parliament, ironically, has already affirmed the Charter for Compassion. But and this is a really good example where you need a grassroots team of people. The Parliament said yes, and then nobody did anything. And so now we actually have a team that's from all different parts of Australia. And thanks to Zoom, they're able to meet on a regular basis. And sometimes as they travel, some of them travel, they have an opportunity to see one another. I dare say that some of them have really never met in a full group. But that's the kind of thing that begins to happen, so that we start talking between the charter and local people. The local groups begin to grow, and from the early morning hours, just because of the way the different continents come with their time zones. I start very early in the day because of South Asia and the Middle East and Europe and the Eastern United States, so that we spend a lot of time on Zoom. Zoom is my friend.
Oh, that's great. That's so great. And we just experienced meeting each other for the first time after knowing each other socially, virtually for over a couple of years. We've been working
Right,
together. And but we just got to go to a kindness collective
right.
in Half Moon Bay. And that's why we decided to expand and do this show, Team Kindness. And I wanted to ask you about your experience with this collaboration and how you feel we are bringing this collaboration into our day-to-day life now that we have separated from each other, and we're still kind of keeping in touch. And I'm so grateful for Zoom for that also.
Right. Yeah, the whole, I think, compassion, kindness, even, things that we might not think about, like happiness, for example,
Happiness,
or,
exactly.
civic response,
Gratitude. They're all this.
gratitude.
They're all interfaced. They're all
Right.
intertwined.
And I think even, civic responsibility is a part of all of these.
For
Um,
compassion,
and,
absolutely.
and so that, a lot of times people, will say, oh, you want to be compassionate. And for us, compassion is an action.
Hmm.
And so oftentimes the word is maybe misused a little. I've been so involved with it lately because I'm just finishing up a course, one of 4 courses that the charter is going to offer through our Education Institute on compassion. And I mean, the whole thing about,
It's so
caring.
wonderful, Marilyn. There are so many wonderful assets that are part of the Charter for Compassion. There's all this curriculum that people can purchase at such a low price, too, to be able to get educated in how to have more nonviolent communication skills and to be able to use mindfulness and interspiritual communication and bring this to their communities. So, what would be your suggestion for people? Because people are coming in. Welcome, Robert Dosa from Romania. And thank you for Kansas City, for Julie is going to be getting in touch with you,
Good,
Marilyn.
great.
And yes, and so I'm going to go through the comments, and people are going to be able to ask questions. But Marilyn, I would like to have your intake on what you feel people who are sitting on the sidelines and are saying, you know what, I really want to get involved, but I don't know how. What
Okay.
would you say to somebody who's feeling that way right now?
Well, I think that a lot of us are somewhat paralyzed just by watching the news. And I would say that, start small, start at home, start with your neighbor. do things in your local community, to really get to know one another and to learn to listen compassionately, as Marshall Rosenberg so artfully has done in his nonviolent communications. That, when the Tea Party, for example, really had stunning wins a number of years ago. Joan Blades, who some of you might know, who created Move On, was really perplexed, and so what she decided to do was to invite the leader of the Tea Party to her living room for a conversation, and it worked out so well that that conversation continues with more people. She left Move On in the hands of, I think, some very capable people. And now she has a whole new organization called Living Room Conversations.
Wow.
And
what a great story.
Yeah, and the whole idea is really learning how to listen to one another in a very compassionate and appreciative way. So often we find ourselves tolerating people, and that's the least that we can do. We need to move beyond tolerance to acceptance and acknowledgement of other people. So I think that that is one of the ways. The other thing is that an organization like the Charter for Compassion, I mean, we are an incredibly large organization in one way because of our membership, people who have signed the charter, our Compassionate City initiatives, and certainly our partnerships. But we are a leveled organization. We have very few paid people, 2.5.
Right, 2.5, still 2.5.
And but what we have are these compassionate, passion-driven people around the world who are our volunteers.
Right, the volunteers are amazing.
And so, if anyone who is out there who wants to volunteer, and, we have those 12 sectors, so that if you have an interest in any of those 12 sectors, or if you want to try and begin the process of a compassionate city. When you said Kansas City, I can say, there are a few other people in Kansas City
that they can connect.
They can connect, and maybe, I'm sorry, I forgot the name of the person.
Julie.
Julie. So Julie, maybe you are the juice that will ignite and really nourish the other people in Kansas City to move to the next step. That happens so frequently.
Yes, and Maria is saying in the UK, she would like to be involved. So email over to Marilyn and let Marilyn know that you are wanting to be involved. Kathy Roop is saying, I would love to help. So you have now the email, so you can just email Marilyn directly and just say, I saw on Team Kindness that you were looking for volunteers. This is what sector I'm very interested in. And Julie, you can say, that I am in Kansas City, and are there other people in Kansas City that I can connect with? You're going to be amazed at how many people are part of this. 2,000 partners, right?
Yes, absolutely.
2,100, you said? Yeah. So
yeah, it's well over 2,100. Yeah, and if you go again in that navigation bar on the homepage,
Kathy's saying Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Oh, gosh,
she's raising her hand. Awesome, Kathy.
Kathy, a well-kept secret is that I am originally from Aliquippa, Pennsylvania, 16 miles from Pittsburgh, and so that was. I know Pittsburgh well, and I love it. So I'd love to see something happen in Pittsburgh.
That's wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you, everyone, for your comments. We're coming to a close, but before we close, I want to share with you our kindness service announcement for our next guest, who's going to be next week. We have the most wonderful, beautiful organization that's called Learn to Stop Bullying. So listen to the mission of their Learning to Stop Bullying, and this is in Laguna Beach. Teaching non-judgment, empathy, kindness, and friendship while emphasizing compassion, tolerance, understanding, and acceptance towards all abilities, sexual orientations, races, and religions. Encouraging all to be the best that they can be, honoring and embracing their own uniqueness while respecting and understanding everyone else's individuality. Challenges and differences are all embraced, and practical and proven solutions are provided for the bullies and those being bullied and the bystander to not only identify, but to put a stop to all 6 types of bullying, but also to move towards becoming our next generation of leaders and peacemakers. They offer a slideshow at the school presentations, furthermore, encouraging and inspiring all to accept diversity, come together as one, forgive easily, and deal with anger appropriately, work out differences peacefully, and choose to be a friend. This is all age appropriate, and they receive a pledge to be friend cards and bracelets and stickers for every student that participates. So this is next week. We'll be talking to another beautiful kindness leader, our nation's kindness leaders. I am so honored to be in this beautiful circle of kindness and compassion. And Marilyn, I am so incredibly honored that you and I have become friends. I feel like we're lifelong friends, and we have been so gratefully, divinely guided to each other to become a stronger force for compassion and kindness. I think compassion and kindness are like peanut butter and jelly. You know, they go together like peanut butter and jelly. And so when we bring this movement together and we continue this growing movement of the Kindness Collective that beautiful Wendy Gilbert and Nancy have brought to us and have given us this wonderful opportunity to really collaborate on such a lovely scale. I'm so grateful for this experience, Marilyn, and I'm so grateful for you to be here and to take your time to be here and share your wisdom and share how everyone can be part of the solution. And thank you, everyone who's been here, everyone who watches on the replay. Remember, when you're watching on the replay, you can share this out. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, you can share this. When you do share it, you're adding to the light and you're taking away from the illusion of the separateness. So the more that you share these beautiful broadcasts and join us here on Spirituality Gone Wild, this is a channel that's dedicated to reprogramming the energy and attracting more compassion, more love, more kindness, more gratitude. And that's what the only programs that we offer throughout our week. And every day we have new programs that you can check out. And there's just the 3 of us. We're the Gratitude Girls that have started this channel. And we have incredible other guests and hosts and co-hosts. But it's really growing. And we are becoming this beautiful network of compassion and kindness. So Marilyn, thank you so much for joining us and for sharing all of the ways that we can collaborate.
Fantastic. This has been fun, and I'm sorry that I couldn't see you. But
we see you perfectly, though. What's so funny is you'll be able to watch the replay.
Yeah,
This
I'll
is
be
what
looking forward
technology
to that.
is. Yeah, technology is so fun because I just had Emmanuel Joseph on from the Compassion
Right.
Leaders, and it was interesting because we were struggling with audio. So now we're struggling with visual, and we were saying we need to be more compassionate with the way that technology works and be passionate about really just accepting that, grateful that it works at all.
I'm absolutely certain it's a problem at my end. Living on an island, I can always, say, oh, it's the bandwidth isn't there, and that's usually true. But in this case, I'm really not
Well,
sure.
the
But it's
blessing is
been
we can
fun.
see you. We can see
Okay.
you, and everyone who's been here can now email you and get involved with the Charter for Compassion. So, what a blessing! This is Thankful Thursday, and I'm so thankful for you, Marilyn.
Well,
Let's
thank
have a
you.
good. Let's continue this conversation and have you come back once a month to share about what's going on in the Compassion Corner.
I would absolutely love that.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much for being
everyone.
here. Yes, everybody, anybody want to give a comment or any kind of message to Marilyn before we close? Thank you so much. This has been so great. I feel so inspired. I can see you both perfectly. I can hear you both perfectly. I don't know what you're talking about. You guys look great. Thank you. Thank you, Robert Dosa. Thank you. Let me go back and start from the beginning here and look at our comments. This is, hi, beautiful souls. Love you all. Complete blessings to the beloved ones here. The compassionate ones are the strongest. Yes. Thank you.
Great.
Wow. Welcome,
comments.
Marilyn. We are so grateful that you are part of this global family. Please come back and share more information with us. Can't wait to hear more about this. I will be emailing you soon. Yes, this has been so wonderful. I can't wait to help my city become compassionate. This is perfect, just what I've been looking for. Thank you so much for bringing this, Karen. You bring so many amazing guests. You have done such a beautiful job with these shows. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. It's wonderful to be acknowledged. And it's wonderful that when you hear that you can be part of the solution, you start to feel so much more empowered, and you don't look at the news anymore. You become the news. You become the good news. And that's what we are, right, Marilyn? We're becoming the good news. Yes, we are becoming the good news. And this is just the beginning, you guys. This is just the beginning of a beautiful journey for all of us to stay involved. So thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful night. Remember to be kind and gentle with yourself, with your family, with your community, and let that spill out with inner peace for world peace. Blessings and love to all of you. Thank you so much.
Take care. Bye.